Can we talk about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger? Yeah, well, let's get on with it then. No! Stop! Stop the montage. We don't have time for that shit. I have a lot to talk about, and this video is going to be long enough on its own already. I'm going to have to talk about all three of these games, because what I really want to do is talk about the third game in the Ty series, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 3, Night of the Quinkin. More specifically, I want to talk about the weird tonal shift the story takes out of nowhere. But to do that, I need to talk about the storyline of the first two games, so spoilers for Ty 1 and Bush Rescue. And if having the whole deep and emotional story for some children's platformer games from the early 2000s is going to stop you from playing some classic games, I will now point you to Steam, where all three games are on sale in HD, and the first one is out for Switch now. It should be coming to the other consoles soon enough, but whatever. They take like 8 hours each to play if you go slow, and you get to smack shit with boomerangs, so go support Chrome Studios because I want a Ty 5 to yell about one day. Anyway, on to actually talking about the games. So in these games, you play as Tyrone the Tasmanian Tiger. Something I'm sure you got just from looking at the box art. But what makes him different from our boring real-world tigers is that Ty can use the almighty, unstoppable weapon known as the boomerang. But I'm not here to talk about the fun platforming and overall enjoyable gameplay these games have. I'm just here for the thought-provoking plot. So here we go. A long time ago, an angry bird was mad that tigers were higher on the food chain than him. So he single-handedly tamed an entire army of lizards and built a giant fucking robot somehow. Then he used the power of some magic talismans to open a portal to another dimension called the Dreaming, where all the tigers, except for Ty, were sucked into. At the last moment, one of the tigers knocked out all of the talismans, closing the portal behind them. And Ty learns all of this from some strange old ghost guy calling himself the Bunyip Elder. You know, I'm starting to think this whole thing is just a hallucination because it all happened the day Ty was playing a high-stakes game of tag with his friend. He falls down a hole full of poorly drawn cave paintings of events that couldn't have happened more than 10 years ago. And all of this is dropped in the first cutscene of the game. Ty sets out to find the talismans so he can bring back the family he never knew. Many important characters show up in this game, such as Ty's interspecies girlfriend Shazza the dingo, but I guess you can't really blame the guy with all the other Tasmanian tigers gone and such. Or are they? Sly is an evil Tasmanian tiger working for Boss Cass, but he turns out to be Ty's brother or something like that. With some help from friends, Ty tracks down Boss Cass and saves the day by slapping him across the face with his big, yellow boomerang. With Boss Cass defeated and all the talismans in hand, Ty brings his family back and all is good in the world of Australia. That is, unless you 100% the game, you're introduced to Metal Ty. But don't worry, he gets retconned and just becomes a joke in Bush Rescue.
I am monitored to respond to the name Psy-512.
Speaking of Bush Rescue, Ty 2 Bush Rescue takes place shortly after Ty 1, where Ty, Sly, and Shazza are taking action to stop an attempted prison break by Fluffy. Fluffy was in the first game, but she played such a small role I didn't feel like talking about her. Anyway, Ty jumps into a robot, those robots being called Bunyips. Bunyips play a big part in Bush Rescue, because why wouldn't I want half of my boomerang-throwing tiger game be piloting slow-moving punchy robots? Alas, Ty is too slow to stop Fluffy, and she frees Boss Cass. Ty feels regret for being useless and costing the taxpayers thousands of opals in damage, so to celebrate their loss, they have a grand opening for a mostly empty storage shed. But if you climb some steps and walk into this room, you can see on the wall a cork board. And you all know what that means. That's right, this is the home base for the Bush Rescue team. The team that'll put a stop to Boss Cass once and for all. The problem is, Boss Cass has started his own country because you can just do that in Australia, apparently. Now that Ty has saved the Tasmanian tigers and they've all been relegated to shop owners and useless NPCs,
I did 3 years of drama school for this?
it is up to Ty to travel the beautiful lands of the Australian outback in search for people in need of his help. And here to talk more about the beauty of Australia is my friend, Australia superfan, Brian from the Tide Pool Orchestra.
Thanks, Tyler. Oh, I get it now, Tyler. Ty the Tasmanian. Oh, that's good. That makes sense. So, Australia. I've been known to be harsh on the Australian people in the past, and I think now is a good time to clear up some of those stereotypes. And let me just preface this tangent by saying I do believe that one day the Australians will learn their lesson and be able to rejoin society. Most of the people we think today as the Australian people are descendants of Britain's overpopulated prisons back in 1788. They were sent over to a large landmass. These prisoners built a society for themselves over the next several decades, and then in 1932 decided to wage a war against the emus. The emus had a few casualties, but they did defeat the Australian people. This is to be expected, however, as almost every animal in Australia can probably kill you, and about half of them are spiders. This is why the most popular career path in Australia is to be one of Steve Irwin's twink sons, because they know how to handle themselves against the wildlife. For everyone else, the plan is to basically drink and hope a kangaroo doesn't challenge them to a boxing fight. After losing the Emu War, the Australians are in an uneasy Cold War with the kangaroos, knowing they would probably lose against them, but I think we would all love to climb into their pouch and ride around like Baby Mario did in Yoshi's Island. Beyond that, the only notable thing I could think to say is that the toilets flush the other way around, and that the Tasmanian Tiger game got a lot of initial criticism for its seemingly offensive stereotypical accents, only for it to turn out that they hired an all-Australian cast, and it turns out they just all sound like that. Anyway, back to you, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, for your insight. Anyway, you should really go check out Tide Pool Orchestra. Brian makes videos about Care Bears and other stuff, like a half-hour-long Pop-Tart video, and look! I'm in it!
1 out of 10.
Once you key into Boss Cass's plans to genetically mutate the lizards into warm-blooded animals by kidnapping all of the townspeople, Ty, Sly, and Shazza take off to get all of the people back. You spend the whole last level punching your way through enemies and devastating a forest in your big robot, because this is a mecha game after all. You finally come face to face with Boss Cass in an epic end-of-game battle. Yeah, Ty boss fights are just a joke. Ty and friends get a medal for their bravery, and Boss Cass goes back to jail. The end. That's it. That's all the story of the first 2 games, so I hope you're ready for the utter chaos that is Ty 3.
This is so humiliating.
Okay, so Ty 3 Night of the Quinkin. To tell this story, we have to take it back a bit. So it turns out, while Ty was busy with the whole stopping Boss Cass again thing, a group of ancient evil spirits known as the Quinkin invaded the world of the Dreaming. You know that world that Ty's whole family got sucked into that one time and they never talked about again? Yeah, you know the place. Anyway, the Bunyips in the Dreaming have been stuck in war with the Quinkin, but there's no easy way to fight the Quinkin, aside from one thing. A glove. This glove can only be wielded by its chosen master. Before we go on, let me ask you a question. When you see a couple of these bad boys, what do you think to do with them? That's right! Use them as dual-wielded daggers! What the fuck is this? Why did they do this? And who okayed this shit? Alright, so Ty puts on the glove, fights a few Quinkin, and jumps into the convenient robot suit, then proceeds to kill all the monsters that can't be killed unless you use the glove. Ty single-handedly stops the invasion in like, 5 minutes. So I guess they're gone for good now. The Bunyips thank Ty for his heroic efforts and offer to train him in an action-packed training montage. Buff Boy Tai, along with Shazza, return home, but on their way back, one of the Quinkin attacks and splits them apart. Tai wakes up to a decimated Baramudji being overran by the Quinkin in a fucking zombie frill invasion. So not only is there an invasion by some dark, ancient spirits trying to destroy the world, but also all the frills you've killed over the last 2 games come back as zombies to kill everyone. Mix that in with a shitty attempt at hack and slash gameplay, and you've got yourself yet another mid-2000s platformer trying to be edgy. Why? Why did this happen to everybody? Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Spyro, Sonic, many others. Why did this have to happen to my lovable Tai? Was it you, Activision? Did you do this to him? Probably not, but you're just easy enough to blame these days. Getting back to the game. 6 months had passed between Tai leaving the dreaming and him finally waking up to this mess. Everything's gone wrong, but now that Tai is back, everyone is happy to see him. Especially Shazza and... Sly, what the hell happened to you, man? I mean, you started off so strong. You were a Shadow the Hedgehog knockoff that turned good guy. Then you helped out in the Cass war efforts while hand-making the strongest boomerangs in the game. To now, this. What happened? And Sly, have you been fucking Shazza while I was gone? Now I know what you're thinking. Eggs, are you okay? Are you looking too deeply into the story of a kid's platformer game? Is this where you come out as a furry? And the answer to 2 of those questions is yes. I want you to listen to this and tell me that Sly and Shazza don't have a thing going on.
I realized something when you were away, Tai. I think Sly might get a bit lonely.
Hey bro, Shazza seems pretty happy that you're back. You know, when you weren't around, we thought we'd lost you. You know, I wonder sometimes how things would have turned out if I was the one raised by Bilbies, and you were the one that worked for Cass. I mean, would the Quinkin have invaded? Would you have ended up with Shazza?
Tai 3, Knight of the Quinkin. More like Knight of the Cuckin. Oh, I actually wrote that joke down. That's a thing I wrote down. To stop the Quinkin, they decided to reform Bush Rescue. The only problem is, Duke, Murray, and Julius have found themselves in a few pretty bad situations. So it's up to Tai to save Duke from a horde of zombie thrills after a bad helicopter crash, save Julius from his evil uncle's fighting pit, and save Murray from buying a house. Once everyone is back together, Tai takes to the sky to lead the first attack on the Quinkin, which leads me to a complaint I have. Why are there so many vehicles in this game? Like, you have the punchy bunyip, the crab car thing, the bad kart racer missions, these flying bunyip levels, and a few more that I was too lazy to go record footage of. To add to the things I want to complain about, the new boomerangs. They got rid of the cool old style elemental boomerangs from the first 2 games, and me being fresh off the hills of playing Final Fantasy Remake for the past 30 hours before writing this, the only way I could think to explain them is, those are materia slots. You take the orbs of magic and you put them in the rings, and now that ring has the element. All boomerangs have a different number of open slots to use, except for one, the Shadow Ring. This is the ring needed to fight off the Quinkin. To fight him, you need to slowly fly along a canyon to reach a portal to the Quinkin's homeworld. You soon come face to face with the all-powerful and highly intelligent Quinkin who has taken control of Boss Cass.
He, like you all soon will be, became our unwilling slave.
Then you learn one of the biggest twists in gaming history.
The one you call Boss Cass summoned us.
After that, it's right on to the big fight. Tai bosses are a joke. Oh shit! Once you finally beat the Quinkin, Boss Cass shows up for an even bigger twist. He has captured Tai's friends and is going to kill Tai and the Quinkin with a big laser gun, but just as he pulls the trigger, Fluffy jumps in the way and pushes Tai out, while the laser obliterates all of her. Except for her tail, at least. I feel like this was supposed to be a sad moment, but I've gotta be honest, I really don't give a shit. Who even was Fluffy, really? Oh, that's right, the bad guy. The screen cuts to Sly jealously watching Ty and Shazza make out until Shazza's little sister shows up and gives him a quick handy behind a statue built in honor of Fluffy. The end. And they never made another Ty game after that. No, get out of here.